Hey class, it's Ashley and I'm back with another mentoring moment, and today I'm going to teach you about how to flip the traditional job search model on its head to get real results in your job search. I know a lot of you have been job searching maybe for weeks and months, maybe even all year, and it's not yielding the kind of results you desire. For some of you, it's crickets all year. You're not getting callbacks. You're not hearing from employers. You feel like you've applied for 1 million jobs and you're just not seeing any traction in your job search. And for others of you, you also have been job searching for a while, but the overwhelm is real. You're seeing so many jobs, you don't know which to choose. You feel like you've been applying for a lot of jobs and you're not gaining any traction. It's just like you don't see any way out of the traditional job search process to really drive results. But one of the things that I teach my mentees in the Mentor Me Accelerator in session 4 is to flip the traditional job search model to actually drive results in your job search. And I'm excited to teach that to you as well. Job searching is a skill. And one of the things that I've recognized, it's like a lot of things with adulting, like you're just supposed to know how to do it. You're just supposed to know how to change a tire or change your own oil. You're just supposed to know how to do laundry and grocery shop for a healthy diet. And I think that like job searching is like that too. You're just supposed to know how to do it. But job searching is a skill. It's a thing that you have to be taught. And the traditional way that you might think, let me think about what jobs I want and then type those job search titles into Monster or Indeed or LinkedIn and hope for the best. That's not how you job search. And that kind of job search yields very inconsistent results. And so I'm so excited to teach you how to flip the traditional job search model on its head so that you can finally drive results in your job search. So if you're hyped for that conversation, just throw some hearts up on the screen, hit that heart button in the corner if you're hyped for that conversation. And if you're watching on replay, let me know that you're watching on replay. Pull out a notebook because I'm so excited to teach you how to flip the traditional job search model on its head so that you can finally drive results in your job search. All right, let's dive into this conversation. I'm so excited that you're here and I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. So what I often see with professional women, like I said, is that they will go into a job search and they're like, okay, I want to be a project manager. Okay, I want to work, in the nonprofit space in development. I want to be an educator, right? And they're like, okay, let me look up education jobs. Let me look up project management jobs. Let me look up, jobs related to development of the nonprofit space. Like that's how people job search, but it's not how you should be job searching, particularly not at your level. I should say at the level my mentees are. And I know a lot of my followers, right? If you're watching this, you're probably at that same level. You have 3+ years of experience. You may have a bachelor's degree, you may have a higher level degree, like a master's degree. And this is not your first job. This is not your first rodeo. Like you've been here before. And if you've been here before, the traditional model of job searching doesn't work, right? Because you've already done work before that maybe you don't like. You're coming out of a job, you're coming out of an industry, you're coming out of a functional area that you already don't like, that you already don't enjoy, that's already not serving you. So just going out and looking for jobs in new industries isn't a good strategy because you already are experiencing some dissatisfaction, and just jumping right into a new job or jumping in right into, job titles is not going to yield the type of high paying and high impact position levels that you desire. At this stage in your career development, it's really critical to be more strategic about your job search, which requires you to flip the traditional job search model on its head. And you might be asking, okay, Ashley, what's the traditional model, right? So the traditional model is that people just go out and they just look for jobs. They look at job titles. I want to be a coordinator of student services. I want to, be a finance manager. I want to be an accountant, and they go look for accounting jobs. But that is a bad model for high achieving women because it puts them in a cycle of desperation. It often puts them in a cycle of, I just need to find a job. And so what I want to invite you into instead is that we want to start with the industry, right? When we're job searching, I want you to start with the industry that you are searching in, because every industry is not the same. One of the things that I tell my mentees is that the industries that you're seeking should be based on your values. So for example, one of my top values is autonomy, right? Like one of my top values is autonomy. I value autonomy above everything else. Autonomy, flexibility, my ability to be agile, to move, to be flexible in my work, which means that it would be really challenging for me, for example, to work in the military, right? Or to even work in some government sectors, because the military and the government sector are known for being very rigid, for having tight deadlines and tight expectations. And there's not a lot of space for creativity and fluidity and flexibility in that work. So it doesn't, in the military, or the government sector, they have accountants, they have training facilitators that have HR roles. It's not about the role or the thing that you're doing. When you flip the model, you always want to start with the industry, right? You want to start with the industries you desire to work in. For me, because I value flexibility and autonomy, some of the industries that are best for me to work in are actually going to be industries like education and the nonprofit sector, which allow for a lot of flexibility and autonomy in my work, right? And so for you, maybe you are someone who really enjoys fast-moving, fast-paced environments, right? Like you don't want to be stagnant, you want to be moving fast, you want to be creative, then you would be hard, like it's probably not a great idea for you to work for large Fortune 500 companies, right? Because they're typically not very agile, they're not moving very fast, they're slower to pick up new developments in new technology. You likely want to work in a tech space where they're going to be new and innovative, and they're going to be fast-moving, and they're going to be agile. So the flipped model, right? This flipped model allows you to really focus then on what your values are, what things do you care about, what decisions do you need to make about your career development, and that's where your job search should start. Your job search should never start with, well, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm trained in education, and this is what I have certifications in. Your job search should never focus on that. Instead, your job search should be focused on your values. What do you care about? How do you desire to do work? In what ways do the things you like to do exist in certain industries, and in what ways do the things you like to do don't exist in other industries? And that's where you start a job search. So if that's resonating with you, if that makes sense to you, just type a 1 in the chat. I just want to make sure you're tracking with me. We're making sense. We're on the same page, right? That when you flip the model, right, of the traditional job search, we are no longer starting with, I want to be a project manager, I want to be an ops manager, I want to be a student services coordinator, I want to be an accounts manager. We're no longer starting with job positions. We're starting with industries. We're starting with the higher level. If that's tracking with you, if that's making sense, type a 1 in the chat. I just want to make sure you're there with me. I want to make sure we're on the same page, that you're understanding what I'm saying, that this is resonating with you. So then once you recognize that, like once we get to that pyramid, right, and we start with the industry, then from there, we want to focus then on the impact area, right? So we want to focus on the impact area. I have the great fortune of serving a lot of professional women in HR, in the human resources sector. And this is really true for women in human services or human resources. They often want to start with, okay, I want to work in human resources. And I'm like, that's not where we start a job search. We don't start a job search by saying, I want to work in human resources. We want to start a job search by figuring out what industry we want to work in. Because flat out, every single industry you can think of has someone who deals with the people. Every single industry you can think of has someone who deals in human resources. But a person who works in human resources in the education sector is going to be completely different than a person who works in human resources in the nonprofit sector, which is going to be completely different from someone who works in human resources in the corporate sector, which is going to be completely different than someone who works in human resources in the tech sector, right? It's completely different, and you can't compare them. That's why you never start with the impact area, right? You always want to start with the industry. But then once you get to the industry and you figure that out, that's when you can go into the impact area, right? You can go into the impact area, and impact areas are large sectors of work. So for many of my mentees who desire to work in HR is a impact area. Another impact area is finance, right? There's so many jobs that you can have in finance. Accounting is one. There's so many jobs that you can have in accounting. like human services, right? Like I have a lot of mentees who work in like public services, community relations, community development, community engagement, right? That is an impact area. It's a large sort of umbrella set of work that you might do in any particular industry. And it's important that you start with the industry and then you drill down into the impact area. And actually, I think I have an example of this. I'm going to pull up a graphic. Let's see. Yep. So this is the model that I talk about, right? Really wanting to flip the job search model on its head. And so again, so many people want to start with the position title, and then that's where they start and their job search stalls out. And so what I teach my mentees is to actually start with the industry. So start at the bottom, and then work your way up into impact area, which I just talked about some of those categories. And now then we can go into functional area, right? So functional area looks like in the HR sector, for example, in HR, you could have a functional area of training and development. You could have a functional area of pay and benefits and compensation. You could have a functional area of working with talent management and talent development. You could have a functional area of working in recruiting, right? It's so important that instead of just going in and say, I want to be a director of HR, I want to be an HR coordinator, I want to be a student services coordinator, I want to be an accountant, or I want to work in finance. We need to flip the model, right? We need to flip the model on its head, and we really need to be starting with the industry, moving into the impact area, and then moving into the functional area. In the finance sector, there's so many functional areas in finance. You could be working in accounts payable. You could be working in accounts receivable. You could be working with creditors. You could be working with debitors. You could be working with outside vendors. You could be working with taxes. Like you could be working in so many different functional areas. And that's why it's super important that you don't just go in and just look for, quote unquote, look for a job, because you're doing it all wrong. And what ends up happening when you look for a job like that is that you experience a lot of dissatisfaction, because you're applying for jobs and you think, oh, this is the kind of work I want to do, or this is the kind of job I want. And then they're paying you $15,000 to $20,000 less than you desire. And let me know if anybody's experienced that, right? Just throw some hearts up on the screen if you've ever went into a job search and you're like, okay, great. Like this looks like a great job for me. And then you get the offer, or they start to talk to you about the salary, or you see the salary listed on the page and you're like, they want to pay me what? They want to pay me $50,000. They want to pay me $65,000. This job in this industry, I should be making $80,000. I should be making six figures, right? This is what ends up happening. This disillusionment ends up happening with so many high achieving women. And this is why they get so frustrated, right? In their job search. This is why they get so annoyed. This is why they get so disappointed, because what they end up doing is they start job searching with a position in mind. And that's an outdated and an ill-advised job search strategy. We must flip the traditional job search strategy on its head, really start with the industry, move into the impact area, then move into the functional area, and then look for position titles. When you start your job search with this outdated model, then you get big disappointment when they're not paying you enough, when you can't find any jobs that are aligned with your skill set, when they want to, put you in coordinator level or lower level roles where you have no impact, right? No longer can we look for specific job titles and little niche, little things and then hope for the best. We really must start wide, right? You must start with the industry and then narrow in, right? And I understand that this is kind of a controversial topic. I understand that a lot of people don't like this because it requires them to think. I teach this flip job search model in session 2 of my program and in session 4. And my mentees have told me that session 2 of my program is most challenging because it requires them to think differently than they've ever thought about their career. Right? All the time for high achieving women, that you're being told you need to go to school and you need to get a good job. You need to go to school and you need to make some of yourself. You need to go to school and get this degree and make us proud. You need to go to school so you can build a legacy and care for your family, right? With no real concern or consideration for who you are and how you show up in the world. With no real concern or consideration for who you are and how you show up in the world. With no real concern or consideration about what you like, what you value, what you care about, what's most important to you. And when you continue, right, even as a professional, when you continue to operate with someone else's priorities at the front of your decision making, you will always come up with the L. You will always come up lost. You will always come up less than satisfied, right? Less than fulfilled. Now more than ever, it's critical that high achieving women flip the job search model and don't stay stuck doing work that they don't desire. Don't stay stuck in industries that they don't desire to be in. Don't stay stuck in roles that they don't desire to be in. But too often, I see high achieving women stay stuck in roles that they don't desire, stay stuck prioritizing other people's expectations of them, stay stuck prioritizing, well, I got my degree in this, so I got to stay in this. And these are the only kind of jobs that make money, so I have to do this. And that's flat out not true. The longer you stay stuck prioritizing other people's expectations of you, the longer that you will be dissatisfied and disillusioned with the world of work. More now than ever, it's time for you to flip the model, for you to flip the model, for you to put your priorities, your values, what you desire for your career at the forefront of your job search, because that's what's going to yield results. And the results that you desire are to make more money and to have more impact. And that's available to you. It's available to you. You can use the skills that you have to make more money. You can use the skills that you have to position yourself to a higher level of leadership, but not if you stay stuck following traditional models that don't prioritize who you are and how you show up in the world, that don't prioritize what you desire at this point in your career. The flexibility, the joy, the autonomy, the benefits that you desire in the world of work are available to you, but only if you're following a job search model and a career development model that's designed for you. Not one that, you just know how to job search. So you just go out there and put your best foot out there. You cast a wide net and hope it works. That strategy is dead. That strategy is not one that yields results for high achieving women. Moreover, it yields a lot of resentment and frustration and anger and disillusionment and loneliness when the traditional model doesn't work for us. But you have to remember that it wasn't built for us, right? The traditional job search model of just going out and looking for a job based on job titles was not designed for women, period, and particularly not for high achieving women, and certainly not for Black women. We must flip the model on its head. We must start prioritizing industries that see us, industries that are aligned with our values, industries that prioritize the things that we care about. Then we must move into functional areas, broad spec functional areas that are aligned with our skill sets and are aligned with the level of expertise that we have. And then from there, right, you move into functional areas, getting even more niche in the exact work that you want to do and in the ways in which you desire to drive impact with your customer, your client, your student, your community, or whoever the outside, front facing customer or client is. And then, right, then and only then do we talk about position titles. So often I see high achieving professional women being like, oh, well, my degree is in education, so I guess I got to just work in education and, that's where I got to be. Right. And I'm like, well, what do you value? What do you care about? And they're like, honestly, I'd be bored at work a lot. I really prefer fast paced environments. I really want to do something, where I can work with small teams and be agile in my work. I want to be a lot more flexible. And I'm like, well, quite honestly, the education industry is a slow moving train. It's a train and it is moving. It's on the tracks, but child, it's slow. If you desire innovation and a lot more collaboration and vigor in your work, then you might want to consider some other industries. The tech industry, the energy industry, right? Those are industries that move very fast. They're very fast paced. They're very agile. They're very innovative. If that's what you desire, then that's where your job search should be starting. Not with, oh, I got my degree in education, so I have to be here. Your belief that you have to start your job search based on your degree or what somebody else told you or what you think you can do is because of your lack of belief in your ability to successfully transition into other industries. That's a mindset block. You can leverage the skills that you have right now to transition into any field that you desire. You can leverage the skills, the knowledge, the expertise that you have today to transition into any industry that you desire. But only if you learn how to leverage that expertise to really get what you want in your career. Only if you learn how to articulate your skill set at a higher level to really attract employers to you. Only when you learn how to use the skills that you have to get what you want and position yourself as a problem solver in other industries. It's when you learn how to do those things that you don't have to worry about, well, should I go back to school? Or, should I, consider taking a pay cut? Or should I wait until somebody put me on? I'm just trying to network and get put on. When you know how to do those things, you don't have to wait. You don't have to have another degree. You don't have to go get another certificate. You can leverage what you already have to get what you want. And I teach those things in the Mentor Me Accelerator. This tactic of flipping the traditional job search model, I teach in session 2 and session 4 of the Mentor Me Accelerator. And I will tell you, my mentees share how transformative it is to know that they don't have to do things like they've been doing it. Because the way you've been doing things is not yielding results, right? It's not yielding results. That's why you've been job searching for 3 months with very little results. That's why you've been still stuck in the same role for 2 years longer than you said you were going to be there, right? That's why you keep being frustrated when you get to the final interview and they're giving you soft and weak offers, right? It's because you're not job searching in a way that centers who you are and how you desire to show up. Right? And that's not your fault, right? Everyone thinks they know how to job search. Everyone thinks they know how to do it. Everyone thinks that it's not a skill and it's just something you just go out and you just look for a job. Everyone thinks of it like that. Everyone thinks you just go out and look for a job. Throw some hearts up on the screen if that's what you thought. Like, I guess I'm just supposed to go out here and get on Indeed, right? And get on LinkedIn or go to somebody's website and look for a job. Like, that's what I thought it was. Just throw some hearts up on the screen if that resonates with you. If you thought that that's how you job search, if that's what you understood, you didn't know no better, right? But now I'm so excited because you know better. You know better, and now you can do better. Now you have the skills to do better. I am so excited to serve you. I am so excited to help you do away with old and outdated models and to actually drive results in your job search. I'm so excited to help you make more money and have more impact, centering you, centering what you care about, centering what you desire, centering what's most important to you. Because I know that your job in your career is important to you. I know that you desire to make more money. I know that you desire to prioritize your family. I know that you actually desire to use this degree that you got. I know you desire to do something that feels meaningful in the world and to stop being stuck doing things that don't really drive any passion or purpose in your life and your work. Now is the time to take action in your career development and apply to the accelerator and get the support that you need to drive results. Take the first step today. You can go to my website at mentor-me.org to apply to the Mentor Me Accelerator. Thanks so much for watching. Talk soon. Bye.